So this is a story about how Logan Paul got duped for $3.5 million. I'm David, the Geeks and Jocks, and this is what this video is going to be about. So without further ado, let's jump into the video. So first of all, disclaimer, if you haven't been scammed or they haven't tried to scam you, then you haven't been long in the hobby. We obviously do not like it, but it's just part of the hobby. It's just scammy people are everywhere and in every walk of life, and collecting is not exempt from this scammy people. In the Pokemon collecting community, it's called predatory trading, where you trade a card that is not worth that much for a card that is worth a lot of money. And it usually happens between an older and more experienced player and a younger or a dupe, a more new to the hobby player. This is called, again, predatory trading. So now the story. About a month ago, a story on Instagram showed up that Logan Paul had a sealed case set first edition base set Pokemon cards. And Rattle Pokemon, as it's known on YouTube, was the first one to point out that it could be fake. Seriously guys, go check out his YouTube channel. He has 4 videos on the subject and they are very good. He pointed out that this case could be the one that showed up on eBay a couple of months prior, because this sort of stuff, when it shows up in the wild, eBay in this case, it is very talked among the community. And Rattle Pokemon made a video about it that first aired in December 25th of 2021. He later on made other videos, with the final video making it a recap and a pre-watch party for the Logan Paul case. But let's go into the case that appeared in eBay. This case appeared in eBay around March, and it sold for 91,000 Canadian coins. But this purchase was canceled by the buyer. And the reasons were several reasons. Basically, the story didn't match up. A lot of eBay, like I said, the community talks, and a lot of eBay buyers contacted the seller, which was a Canadian seller, and the stories kept changing of how he came to the base set first edition sealed booster case. So the first red flag was that eBay seller did not have a lot of sales, ergo did not have a lot of feedback for the sales. The second red flag, like I said, was the comments in the story that kept on changing. Also, he worded the post very kind of scammy, kind of like rushing you like to make a bid or to buy it now. Also using words like "you can't miss this," once in a lifetime opportunity, words that trigger that the deal needed to be expedited, and usually used by scammers. Also, it doesn't matter if the story actually matches up. Anybody can tell a story and copy and paste it. It's just the fact that they didn't even take that into consideration. Just copy and paste the same story you've been telling, but they didn't even do that. So that's, you know, the worst kind of scam, where nothing matches up. But like I said, the story is irrelevant. The product can or be fake. It doesn't matter what the story is, but at least if the story match, you know, it kind of gives you a sense that, you know, it might be legitimate. Another red flag was that the case actually went for a very low price. Basically, not even what a single base set first edition box goes for. And this is a red flag, meaning that a lot of people within the community, a lot of the whales out there, a lot of the big collectors did not trust the legitimacy of this case. Ergo, nobody really bid on it, making the whole sealed case go for 91,000 Canadian dollars. But the sale was not completed. Then somehow this case got flipped along the way, making its way to Melee Pop Shop, as well as other people were involved in getting this case sold to Shine, which was the collector that ultimately sold it to Logan Paul. But in one of the videos explaining after the fact that the case was obviously fake, then Shine goes and mentions that he would not have bought the case for $2.7 million if it was not authenticated by BBCE, which is the Baseball Cards Exchange, a company out of Indiana, which they specialize in grading sports cards and sports sealed product, but they do not specialize in Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh! Magic the Gathering type of cards, which they call collector cards. They do not specialize in that, but they were bold enough to go ahead and put their word and their name behind a seal, which they even put another layer onto the case. I guess that the people selling it were banking in the fact that nobody would want to open the case because it kind of like loses the value. But in reality, with this type of products, there's no rules on it. You actually want to know what's in the card box, because you you're buying the product, you're not buying the card box. The card box is just a card box. The only seal protecting it is a stop tape, which in its own is not a guarantee that what it contains has not been tampered with. Now, Rattle Pokemon actually went into and pointed out a lot of stuff wrong with this case. First being the tape, the label, the look that it did, it was not thermal printed. And I do agree with him that thermal printed labels, or basically what you get in the grocery store, your ticket, they do fade with time. And this is at least a 25-year-old label, which should have been more degraded, or it should be more faded because of just the age of the label itself. Also, the lots were not matching for the ones that people have opened, and you know, it's kind of public knowledge that people have cases. When they open them, obviously there's no sealed cases anymore, but people have opened them in like videos for YouTube and stuff, and people have seen pictures and nothing was matching up. And of course, when they went and opened it, you already know this because you are clicking in this video. When they went and opened it, it was several boxes that were also fake, and the seal wrap was not original from Wizards of the Coast, and it contained inside G.I. Joe packs, which is another product from Wizards of the Coast, but it's not the product that Logan Paul wanted to acquire. So the big thing is that a lot of people are asking why Logan Paul did not ask Gary for advice, Gary being the king Pokemon that actually has a open slash sealed case of base set first editions. And in a later further digging for this, it was stated by Logan Paul that he did not know that King Pokemon had a case. Regardless, he should have actually reached out and seek advice, because whether he said in an Instagram video that it doesn't necessarily mean that if the seal is kind of off or the label's kind of off that the product inside is fake, at least it gives you the red flags or what to look for that he should have been looking for. As you know, if you're here, 4 days ago that video went live where Logan Paul explains that he got scammed for $3.5 million. And he actually went to Chicago and tried to open up the case with the people from BBCE, which is the baseball card exchange, and open up the sealed case. To his surprise, that none of the boxes obviously were real. One of them wasn't even a first edition fake, it was just an unlimited fake that should not even been with the first editions. Also, the product inside was a G.I. Joe product. This leaves a big lesson to be learned. Actually, you do have to seek advice if you are not the most knowledgeable on what you are buying, because a lot of headaches would have been saved if Logan Paul would actually reach out to King Pokemon, and he would have known that this case was at least, you know, fishy, you know, at least he needed to check it furthermore before dumping those $3.5 million. As to my knowledge, Logan Paul has already been reimbursed for those $3.5 million. Shine is pending to be reimbursed at $2.7 million by the previous sellers. I guess to a certain extent, Logan Paul did not care a lot about if the case was legit or not, because as a content creator, he has a video when everything goes right, buying a Pokemon card for $150,000, which is an enormous amount of money, and that has over a year and has only have 10 million views. And the video for his scam, where he gets scammed $3.5 million, already has about 4.3 million views in less than a week. So him getting his money back, plus all this content, I bet you he's gonna be talking about it. That's what I think, that he didn't care that much. That's why he was quicker to jump the gun and buying this product, because at the end of the day, he already got his money reimbursed, and he has gotten so much more views from things going wrong than from things going well. And that is actually somebody pointed out in that Instagram video call that they had. It was King Pokemon, Pokeju, and Logan Paul, and somebody else, I can't remember who it was, but they pointed out that people they want to see him fail. And if you check his most viewed videos, one of them is the one that he actually asked for, you know, he explains what happened in Japan when he went to Japan, and talked about, you know, he made a lot of awful comments, and he was behaving not up to his best behavior in Japan, and this has garnished him a lot of video views. Is one of his most viewed videos. that is why my theory is that he didn't actually care if the case was legit, great. But if it wasn't legit, at least it makes for good content. So that's it for today's video. That's my thoughts on what happened. Like I said, lesson learned. You need to do your due diligence. Want to remind you that if you like our content, comment, like, and share, as well as subscribe if you haven't done so already. Also, want to thank our sponsors, Dex. They are linked in the description of this video. That's it for today's video, and I'll see you in the next one.